My name is Aski and you're watching NerfedTV. So welcome back to the Hearthstone Arena. Last time we had a rogue deck on the go, and unfortunately Hearthstone is still a little bit buggy, and we had the game crash out of a couple games in the second part of that arena run, and it brought it to a pretty upsetting end. So we're going to start a new run, and for this we'll be taking the newly buffed up Priest. So our first card draw, Pint-Sized Summoner, Angry Chicken, Arcane Golem. It's got to be the Pint-Sized Summoner. The other two cards are fairly useless. Tauren Warrior is probably the best option here. The other two aren't great with Priest decks. At least give us some early game taunt. Here, Silence or the Silverhand Knight are really your two best options. Silence is useful, definitely, especially as zero cost, but the Silverhand Knight is such an effective card, I can't turn it down. We do get a second one here, or we could go for its younger brother, the Razorfen Hunter, but I think a second Silverhand Knight is probably the way to go. The Ogre Magi has some utility in a Priest deck if we get some good spells, but I think the Silverhand Knights get some more mid-game minions out. Lightspawn is one of my favourite cards in the game, absolutely brilliant. You can buff them up with a card like Power Word Shield, and then it's a 7/7. Can even go for a second Lightspawn here. Harvest Golem is good as well. I think a second Lightspawn is probably the best option of those two. Oh, and here, three very good cards. All of these I really want in the deck. So Spellbreaker is great, one of the most useful cards. Definitely got to go with that. But the other two are fantastic as well, and if we get options for those, we'll have that. Fort Steel here, probably the best option. Knife Juggler, Defender of Argus, Cold Light Seer. So the Cold Light Seer is useless. Defender of Argus on the Knife Juggler. Let's go with the Knife Juggler, a little bit early game. We haven't really got any too early game minions at the moment. Holy Nova for some board clear. Lord of the Arena, get some late game taunt. I think it's probably the best option there. Silence and Mind Control. Mind Control is so powerful, so we'll go with that. Temple Enforcer, Brewmaster or Voodoo Doctor. We had a lot of problems with Brewmaster in the previous run. It can be really useful if you can get it off correctly, but I think maybe we'll go with the Temple Enforcer. We've got that +3 health, so we can use that on our light spawns and buff those up. Another Holy Nova. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Stormwind Champion is very good as well, but some more board clear, a little bit more heal could be useful. Let's go with the Stormwind Champion for the time being. And here's the cards we really want. Divine Spirit and Inner Fire. These two cards are really strong. We can buff up that Light Spawn with Divine Spirit, and you've got a 10/10. And if you've also got it buffed up with other things, you can make it really, really powerful. You can get that damage out using cards like that. It gets really strong. Here, it's got to be the Voodoo Doctor. The other two cards are fairly mediocre. Fasty is okay. Maybe we should. Or we could just go, no, let's get the one cost in, because then we've got a one cost card, something we can play on turn 1 and get out on the field if we get lucky and draw it. I think Mind Vision's the only real option there as well. Probably Power Word Shield here, I think that's the best choice. Holy Fire for some pretty solid removal and a heal. Yeah, probably the best option. The Azure Drake is good as well. Holy Smite for some more removal. Oh, and an Inner Fire or another Mind Control. These are throwing some tough decisions at us in this draw. I think a second Mind Control might be okay. I mean, we haven't really got anything in our deck Inner Fire is too useful with at the moment. If you get those sort of really low damage creatures that are very high HP, the taunts and stuff, it can be really strong. But I think a second Mind Control is the best choice there. Holy Nova, Stranglethorn Tiger. The Tiger could be useful, both 5 costs. We're getting a lot of sort of late game creatures in this deck. We're building very much around sort of the mid game and into the later game for the real setup. Let's go with that Stranglethorn Tiger. Abusive Sergeant, Shield Master or Core-Hand. Shield Master is fantastic, I love that card, so we'll stick with that. Direwolf Alpha, get a bit more early game presence on the board, I think so. A third Mind Control, not my worst idea. Dark Iron Dwarf, also a very strong card. And Razorfen Hunter is very good in itself. Very tough decision. I love the Dark Iron Dwarf, it's a great value. Get 10 stat points on the board for just 4 cost, really strong. We'll go with that. We've already got 2 Mind Controls, we don't need another one just yet. All 3 of these cards can be quite useful. I think perhaps we'll have to go with the Tauren Warrior. I like the Boulder Fist Ogre, but the Tauren Warrior gives us some more early game play, and that's something we're really missing at the moment. Go with the Shadow Word Death for some really strong removal of our own. Mass Dispel. Silence all the enemy minions, draw a card. That's pretty effective. We're getting to our last few choices now, though. I think it's the only real option out of these 3. The Imp Master's okay. You get a lot of creatures on the board. If you've got a good way to sack those creatures, if you can do something, say you've got like Cult Master or something like that, so every time one of your creatures is dying, you're getting card draw, and that kind of thing can be really useful. But since we haven't got anything like that, I think probably the Dispel's our best option. Secret Keeper, we don't have any secrets anyway, so there's no use at all for us. Knife Juggler, Questing Adventurer, Mind Control Tech for our last card. Questing Adventurer or the Knife Juggler are our 2 best options. We already have a Knife Juggler in this deck, so Questing Adventurer it is. So that is our deck. It's quite spread out. We're quite varied. Got a slightly interesting mana archive. Really, we'll just see how it goes when we get into our first match. So let us see who we're going to be playing in this game. So we've got Malfurion, Stormrage, the Druid. Druids are fairly interesting actually. They can have a lot of choices in what they can pull out of each of their cards. So we're going first, and we've got a lot of late game, mid game and late game creatures here. Let's toss... No, let's keep the Shieldmaster. Let's keep him in our hand and toss the other two. At least that way we've got some turn 4 taunt. If we're in a bad position then we can pull that out. And some more late game creatures. So we're going to be strong from turn 4 onwards. We've got some fairly good options around there. And mind control. So again, they're going to have a very tough start to this game. We can heal up obviously on turns 2 and 3 if he's done any damage to us. But if he hasn't done any damage, we can't really do anything with that. It's definitely going to be a challenging match if we don't get any early game creatures out. What's he going to play? Innovate. We're going to see the coin. So he's going to go for a very big turn 1 play. This is going to be a problem for us if we can't really do anything to stop this. And for Claw, so he's giving himself some armor and some more damage. It's only this turn though, so it's not actually going to last any further in. This is a very strange place. So it's going to do 5 damage to us, but he's going to lose that armor straight away. That is a lot of cards for 5 damage. He's taking himself down to 2 cards. He uses coin and innovate on that. I don't think that was really a particularly good play. We can just heal ourselves up as well, so we can actually make use of our heal, thank goodness, on turn 2. He keeps his armor. I didn't think that worked actually. I thought we just kept the I thought the attack and the armor faded after the turn. But anyway, at least so I suppose it paid off fairly well for him then in that case. He managed to keep 5 armor, buffed up to 6 now. So he's going to be quite a challenge to take down already. He's now 10 hit points ahead of us. So we get the Questing Adventurer. We can play that out. There's nothing else we can really do. We could heal ourselves, but it's not going to give us much. And we get to get some ball control, seeing as he's got nothing at the moment. So that initial play actually worked out better for him than I thought it was going to. I thought the armor actually faded afterwards. I'm sure it says on those cards you only get it for this turn. +1 attack this turn, and the armor stays, at least on his hero power there, so that makes a bit more sense. So he hits us for 1, takes 2 damage himself, and then he kills it with the ball. Yeah, a fairly good trade. I mean, he used his entire turn to get rid of that Questing Adventurer, but it can become a threat quite quickly. So we've got 2 light spawns now. I'm quite happy to play one of those out. Normally I'd rather hold on to them until I can buff them up really effectively. I mean, we've got the power word shield, so perhaps next turn if he doesn't kill it we could have maybe a 7/7 and deal some pretty serious damage to him. But I'd also quite like to get the shield master out next turn to give us some armor. He swipes it in. Is he going to have any way to kill it? No, but the creature, the light spawn, actually its health matches its attack. So basically if it goes down like that, it loses a lot of its damage capabilities. So as you see, it's now down to a 1/1, so near enough useless to be honest. I think we're just going to buff up our shield master. We're going to need to give ourselves a bit more survivability on the field. I'm getting a bit worried. He's taking quite a strong lead against us so far, and we haven't really got any major damage capabilities in our hand at the moment. We have made it to this far in the game without taking a huge amount of damage, so it's lucky. If he'd been playing something that was a very early game rushdown deck, we might have been in more trouble with that early game draw that we got of all the sort of late game cards. If he'd managed to deal 10-15 damage to us in his first few turns, certain rogue decks and stuff like that can do, we could be in a pretty serious position. So he's probably going to be able to kill that light spawn now. He's buffed himself up. That would probably be the best play. He plays a knife juggler, so if he can play something else, he could perhaps try and knife it. No, interesting. So yeah, I personally would have killed that light spawn off, just in case, just to get it off the board, get out of the field. So we could Divine Spirit our taunt, and that makes it really strong, very difficult to kill. Or we can play out a light spawn and then Divine Spirit that, or we could heal up our original light spawn. That's probably the way to go. So we heal up our original light spawn. Now we've got 6 damage on the field. So now do we kill his knife juggler or do we go straight for him? Take the knife juggler out, play it safe, go straight for him with that, and end the turn. So next turn, if he doesn't deal any damage to our right hand side light spawn, we can Divine Spirit that, so we can deal 10 damage, really hurt him. Next time we've also got the Stormwind Champion as a choice as well. We could play that out, buff everything on the board up. So we have got a few options for what we can do next turn. So what he plays. So we've got a Farseer, Wind Fury, not going to help him too much. Only got 3 HP unless he buffs it up. Now it's 7 with Taunt. That is much more difficult to get through. So we can Direwolf Alpha. Is not going to give us enough damage to get through it. We could Can't mind control just yet. We could dispel, silence it. That gets rid of that off of him. Then we can divine spirit if we wanted to. Shall I kill? I don't like really attacking too much with my taunts. We could play out another taunt. We can heal up. We have got options here. Let's kill that. Gets that off the field. Divine Spirit him. Go for that big damage. Get that damage on him. Put him in a bad position. And there we go. So now we've taken back pretty much everything. We've got best ball control, we've got the health advantage, and we've got card control. We're in a good position. He's going to struggle to come out of this. We've got mind control next turn. So if he plays a big taunt or something like that, we can steal it off of him. And then we can have that. And Druid of the Claw, make it a taunt. Go on, make it. Yes, right. So we can mind control that next turn. Oh, I wish it buffed that up even more. That would have been even better. So this turn, I think we mind control to steal his taunts. Oh. Yeah. Just thinking. We could Holy Nova. That clears. It heals up our creatures as well, which would be useful. Or we can't Holy Nova and mind control though. If we Holy Nova, we can kill his taunt, but it will cost us a lot of our damage in itself. So we steer this taunt over. Do we bother to kill that? We could trade out our own taunt for it. Now we've got another taunt. We can still deal 13 damage to him. Or we can deal 16 damage to him, leaving him on 3 HP. If we just go straight for him. Tough decision. What do we trade out? There we go. Go for that. Then go for him. 13 damage. Keep the 2 taunts on the board. Keep that light spawn protected. I think that's the best play. So we keep our light spawn good and protected behind the 2 taunts. It's unlikely he's going to be able to kill that this turn. Plays an Iron Bark Protector. That's no problem at all. We can just bust our way through that with the light spawn and then kill it with the others. Also got Holy Fire, so we can just hit it with that. Hit him with that even. There we go. There we go. Take that down. Take that. And then smash him in the face with his own taunts for the victory. So, fairly well played out. Deck worked out really well there. I mean, we haven't even lost any HP. We're at 30 HP at the end of the game. That worked out really, really well. Chicken dinner. And 300 goals. That's a couple more arena runs in the bank then. Right, so that's the end of the first game. We'll go into the second one in just a second and see how we do. So let us see what we're up against. A Paladin. So interesting class to play against. Paladins are quite challenging. So we get another early game draw. Sorry, late game draw. There's nothing we can really do with any of these cards. I think we'll keep the Shieldmaster again. This is the problem. This deck is built so much. It's got so many mid-game sort of 4-5 cost creatures. And bad draw again. We're really struggling to get any early game presence on the board. So if he starts playing out anything early, I mean, Paladins aren't known for their ability to rush down, but if we run into a rogue who's playing a lot of charge cards and a lot of direct damage cards, we could be in pretty serious trouble by the time we get to turn 4 and 5 when we can actually start playing our minions out in the field. Tauren Warrior, so we got a taunt next turn. That could definitely be useful. Have to coin into the taunt to get it out. He reinforces, so this is good. It means he hasn't really got anything particularly powerful. We can play the Tauren Warrior, and if he procs it with his reinforced minion there on the field, we're going to get some extra damage out of that as well. So that could definitely be useful. Depends what he plays here. If he doesn't play anything, we can trigger our own taunt. There we go. So he's played his own Tauren Warrior. Definitely interesting. So the enraged mechanic basically works. If you're at lower amount of HP than your max HP, it takes effect. So how are we going to kill that? We can Power Word Shield on our own taunt. Makes it hard to kill. Still can't actually trade completely for his creature. We could Power Word Shield on our creature, attack him, and then heal his creature. Right, this is going to be weird. Right, we're going to Power Word Shield, get the card draw. Right, it's nothing we can actually use. Hit him. Procs are both of our enrages. Now he's only at 1 HP, but if we heal him back up, he goes up to 3 HP, but he loses 3 damage. So now he has to sack both his creatures into our taunt to kill it, and he kills both of his creatures to do it. if he doesn't do that, we can pretty much kill anything he plays. Well, I suppose we can just kill the taunt directly. See, this is the problem with Hearthstone. Well, it's not the problem, it's the beauty of the game, really. There is always another card that is going to cause you problems in this game. You set up all your great plans, you come up with all these great tactics, and every card is so strong it instantly just destroys everything you've planned to come up with. So he can now sack both of his creatures into that, gets his trigger. So that was a very good play. He can now completely remove that and he also keeps his 5 damage taunt on the board. So we could heal it up again, and that gets rid of some of his damage. Turn 4, so we can Dispel. That solves a lot of problems, but we're still going to take 5 damage next turn. We can play out our taunt, and that's going to stop us. He'd have to trade the Tauren for it, unless he's got a way of removing it directly. Can't. Iron Dwarf isn't going to help. Mass Dispel's okay. Completely removes the point of the taunt, but I'd like to have something else on the field before I use the Dispel. I want to be able to capitalise on it. There's no real follow-up at the moment. So we pay the Shieldmaster. He's going to just trade directly. I don't like playing out taunts just to die, but I don't think there's really any other choice here. I mean, we're going to sacrifice a card to kill one of his cards that's becoming a bit of a threat. He's getting fairly good value out of that Tauren Warrior. This is going to be something that's going to kill my thing, isn't it? He's just going to outright kill it. Oh, he's going to buff it up. So again, that's an interesting decision. So he keeps his taunt alive on the field, protecting the Iron Dwarf behind it. So what do we do here? We can Silverhand Knight, potentially. That's going to give us 2 minions on the field, which will trade. Both will trade perfectly for his minions, but he probably won't actually do that. Or we can Voodoo Doctor to heal ourselves and play the Iron Dwarf to buff up the Voodoo Doctor so it trades well. Or we could Voodoo Doctor to heal his Tauren Warrior up 1 HP and then Iron Dwarf the Voodoo Doctor, so it makes it harder. He can't trade comfortably then at all. It's not a terrible idea. I'm not sure. This whole tactic of healing up his creatures, it can work short term. It's something you don't see that much, but I've used it a few times. It's paid off really, really well before. But it gets rid of the enrage. It takes his damage down massively. 3 damage is quite a lot compared to what he's got on the board at the moment. I mean, later game it doesn't really matter that much, but this early on I don't want to be taking too much. So we heal him, take down his damage, buff that up. We've got 2 creatures with 4 damage on the board. He cannot trade either of his creatures and keep them alive. He's going to have to trade them completely out and reset the board if he wants. He's got 6 mana to spend. How's he going to do it? Next turn we've got options. We've got Holy Fire, so we can hit pretty much clear anything he can play off the board. I don't think there's anything. Turn 6, perhaps a couple of creatures he can play that we won't be able to just get rid of completely. Like the Bold Fist Ogre, I don't think we can clear that completely with the Holy Fire. Blessing of Kings, he's getting some value out of that creature. Bloody hell. He's going to be tough to kill, so he goes straight for us rather than proccing his things. He's going to try and rush us down now. So that might have been a mistake.
Reporting for duty.
If we can find a way to get rid of that taunt. And so we've got options. We can Dispel, that's going to clear all the buffs off of that, because there's 2 points left to spend, so we've got a heal. Or we can Silverhand Knight. Can't Stormwind Champion yet, can't Mind Control yet. So you're almost tempted to leave it alive for a couple of turns and Mind Control it, but we're starting to take too much damage now. He's 50, well, he's got double our HP now. Good Holy Fire, get rid of that dwarf. Try and just mitigate the damage we're going to take. We're also going to get 5 HP back out of that. Or should we just, I suppose we could do that and then we can stack both our creatures into his Tauren Warrior. We need to get that damage off the field. We can't leave that alive. It's got to be gone. So I don't like having to do that, but that has to be gone. He's got a health advantage on us. Cards were pretty much the same. And there's no real difference to the board advantage. He's got one creature out, but it's only a 1/1. It's not a major problem.
Get behind me.
Booty Bay Bodyguard. Hits us for 1 damage and reinforces. So he didn't have a big play that turn, so that's good. So that buys us a little bit of time. So he does now have that taunt out. So we can Holy Nova, clears 2 of his creatures off the board. Light Spawn, can't trade too comfortably for that, but then he can reduce the health of it down by just sacking his reinforced creatures directly into it.
I must consider.
Decisions. We Stormwind Champion. You can kill it. It's a waste. If we Holy Nova, at least we clear 2 creatures off the board. In exchange for it, we get a little bit of health back for ourselves. I prefer to do this when creatures are on the field ourselves, but when you're in a kind of situation, we don't have much choice. We heal ourselves up. So we heal ourselves up with 4. He's going to hit us for 5 this turn at least. So that's not too bad. It's not great. It buys us a turn. Hopefully he is nothing big. If he is something big he can play this turn, then we start to get in a bit of trouble. But hopefully not.
I wonder.
The upside to a priest is you can sort of scrape back your HP slowly. Like you saw, I mean, a couple of turns ago we were at 15 HP, now we're back up to 23. It's not that much of a difference to what he's got. He's 5 HP ahead of us. I mean, a few turns ago he was 50% ahead of us. So we brought that back pretty quickly. He heals up his taunt. Not great. Brewmaster's back for that, so he's got another heal. So we know one thing's got in his hand. He does definitely have a heal in there. There's a graphical bug there for Hearthstone when the card just sort of sticks behind it. So it stays on the field. It should fade after a little bit. So here we can Mind Control to steal his taunt. I think that's probably the best play. Nick that taunt straight over, end our turn. Hopefully he wasn't planning on that happening. He can trade directly for us, but it's not too much of a problem. That's what we're going to do. What's he going to play out?
Put your faith in the light.
Divine... Oh, bloody hell. What was that? Divine Shield, Taunt, and a Death Rattle. We need to silence that. Badly. So, I think Mass Dispel's our only real option here. We've got to get that silence. That's too much stuff. Let's make that legendary useless. We can Mass Dispel it. Or we could Knife Juggler and try and proc it to get rid of his shield. But then he still keeps that Death Rattle. Mass Dispel. Get rid of all that stuff off of him. Mind Control. That's bad timing. If we'd had that Mind Control before, that would have been awesome. Being able to steal that card straight over to ourselves. So, Silver Hand Knight. Play that out. Get 2 minions on the field. We can Mind Control to steal something next turn. Get back some board control. I think that's our best play. So we go with that. Summon up 2 creatures. See what he plays out.
To Northrend.
Charged him. He's liking his Divine Shield at the moment. It's going to be a Blessing of Kings. Abusive Sergeant. 6 damage. Going to rush us down. I think so. Ouch. So that hurt. Oh, there we go. There goes the card that was stuck behind his others. It is a bit of a weird graphical bug. There are still definitely quite a few glitches left in this game. Another Silver Hand Knight. We've got the Mind Control. Knife Juggler Mind Control. Probably our best option. Steal that over. Maybe we should have gone... No, I think that's the best play. Let's get the high damage over here. Cause him some problems.
If you insist.
Suck that into that. Suck that into that. Clear his board. Play it safe. 6 HP. Maybe that wasn't the best. Oh. So we only got 6 HP, so we can hit us for 4. Definitely. This could be it. If he kills us this turn, we're in big trouble. If, well, obviously, if not, we can Stormwind Champion next turn, buff all these creatures up quite significantly. Questing Adventurer, Stormwind Champion, perhaps. Perhaps that's the play unless we get anything better out. But if he has anything that's going to buff up that creature, then we are dead. Nope, Gurubashi Berserker, not going to help this turn. Heals himself by 3, well, plus 2, he's only on 28. This could be it. It's just for 4. 2 HP. Anything? Mind Vision. That's 6, 12, 15 damage on the board. 19 damage with the Stormwind Champion. Mind Vision, perhaps he's got something in his hand that helps us. Nope, Darkscale Healer is not going to help us. Can we clear his board? Even then I don't think it's going to help. 4, 4, 2, 2. Yeah, we can't get rid of that Divine Shield unless we kill his creatures first. Try and proc the Divine Shield with the Knife Juggler. I mean, there is a play here. We could potentially try to... he's mocking us. Kill off some of his minions and then try to use the Knife Juggler's Knife to proc the Divine Shield. I don't think there's any way really out of this. Okay, pressure's on. Right, let's trade. Oh, bugger, that was the wrong one. We should have killed the creatures first. Sack that into that. That into that. Just kills the creatures. Just see what we can kill. No, GG. Game over. That was unfortunate. I can work it out quick enough in my head then, trying to talk at the same time. But he played very well. That was some very good late game. He pulled out there right at the end, caused some serious problems. I don't like it when players start playing cards and they can obviously kill you. Let's just end the game. Yeah, he played very well there. Caused some brutal problems at the end. I don't think there was any... It's going to bug me now. I'm going to have to rewatch this video and try to work out if there's any way I could actually have won that turn. I don't think there was. There is a possibility, but I think that was it. Anyway, this has been Hearthstone Arena. I've been Aski, you've been watching NerfedTV. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave us some feedback below. Thank you for watching.